So at this point, I think we have everybody in from the waiting room, and we will begin with our discussion this evening. So Devin, I'd like to pose the first question to you as an alum of our school.
Sure.
What did you appreciate most about the school during your time? And how has your perspective on that changed now that you have some distance from the school?
I think, Ashley, the one thing that I recognized that I came away from Branksome with was a real sense of confidence. When I arrived at university, I was in a program that was quite male dominated. And I remember being in lecture theaters with 500 people, and I had the confidence to put up my hand, and if I didn't understand what was being discussed by the professor in front of all those people. And I remember sitting there thinking I never would have had the ability to have the confidence to speak up and to question things and to ask questions if I had not had that experience at Branksome of building my confidence. So I think for me, that was a real big takeaway from the school. And I think that it's held with me throughout my life, throughout different parts of my life as well.
Wonderful. Great. Thank you. What, Devin, would you say, to the best of your knowledge, most differentiates Branksome from other schools?
I think there are two things. I think one is very known about the school, and one would probably be something that is more unknown by prospective people. I think that the IB is a massive differentiator for the school. I think that it gives the girls a really well-rounded education that offers them a ton of opportunities long-term at university and beyond. I think that it gives the schools that the girls are applying to a really confident sense of how well educated the girls have been, because their marks are universally accepted through the IB. So that's one thing that I think would be a really big differentiator for the school. The second thing I would say, and I didn't really introduce myself, but I did sit on the Branksome board for about 8 years. And so having sat on the Branksome board and having sat as the president of the alumni executive, I really got a massive sense for the leadership team at the school and how the school is run. And that's not something that you can ever really get an appreciation for when you're going and touring a school or when you're going and having an interview at the school. But the leadership team at Branksome, the principal down to with her complete leadership team, the board of governors, is a huge strength for the school. They really have a remarkable sense of vision. And I think that they've done an excellent job in the past of leading the school, but even through the pandemic have done an incredible job of managing the current situation with the school.
Great, thank you for all of those kind words about what the school is doing at this time. I've noticed that a lot of people's cameras are off, so if you want to put your camera on, please do feel free. It is your prerogative, however. If you're more comfortable with it off, I do completely understand. Just wanted to make sure you were aware that it's okay. So another question for Devin. We're going to put you on the spot a little bit for the first few minutes of our time together.
Sure.
And I love this question. So if the school were to be represented as a single person, what would its personality be like? And you can use maybe 3 different words or concepts to describe this.
Sure, I like the idea of a concept, Ashley. When I was on the board, we did a study and a big survey to find out what people thought about the school and what their feelings were on the school when we were building the new mission statement. And one of the concepts that kept coming up was that Branksome feels like a warm hug, or Branksome feels like a cozy sweatshirt. Yeah. And when you walk in the door, you really feel that sense of community, you really feel that sense of warmth. So I think for me, Branksome is really warm, is kind, caring. But I also think that Branksome has a real spirit about it and has a real spunk to it as well. So if you can think about one of your kind, warm friends that has a real sense of sparkle and spirit to them, then I think that's a great way to describe the school.
Wonderful, thank you. This is a good time of year to be thinking about cozy sweaters and warm hugs.
Yeah.
Hugging isn't something we're able to do a lot of these days, so it is nice to think about Branksome and its community using those kinds of words. So thank you for that.
Sure.
What would you say that families might find the most surprising about Branksome?
That's a hard one, Ashley. I think that one of the things that would be surprising, I'm trying to think about this, Ashley. I hadn't fully grasped that. I hadn't really fully got an answer for this one.
That's
I think
okay.
that perhaps maybe going back to what I said about the leadership team, that I guess what surprised me when I was sort of under the curtain of the school, sitting on the board, is the school is such a warm and caring environment, but the school is really run behind the scenes like a business. And, the principal is really the CEO of an operation. She's a warm and lovely and knowledgeable CEO that is really approachable and is involved and is, if you think of the students as employees, I mean, she's an approachable and CEO that people have the ability to get to know and be connected to. But I do think that behind the scenes, the school is so well run. It's in a really strong financial position. And I hadn't really ever considered a school like a business before, from the best possible way, in that the facilities are managed, the grounds are managed, the garbage is managed, the employees are happy. And for me, that was the most surprising thing, is that although it's a place where your daughter will be spending all of their time, I hadn't really equated it to being like a business and how well it's run from an operational perspective.
And I would echo that comment, actually, Devin. When I joined Branksome, I had previous independent school experience outside of the province. And I remember, coming home and sharing with my friends how well run this school was, and how I know that, and hopefully our prospective families and parents on the call today, through your research and through the work that you do to learn more about Branksome, you will see that we do have 4 values. And for the work that has been done to determine these school values, it was a whole community project that involved all of our constituents to ensure that the school we are telling our families about, that the community that they are about to join, is truly reflected in what we do and how we I don't want to say run our business, because we're not a business, but we certainly have to ensure that as community members, your needs are met, that your goals and your hopes and dreams for your daughter, to the best of our ability, that we can provide those opportunities. And the attention that is paid to detail behind the scenes at Branksome Hall is like nothing I've ever seen.
Just in the communication alone. I mean, the communication throughout COVID has been incredible. It's been forthright. The videos that we receive from the principal of the school, Karen Djurdjevic, all the way down to, the principal of the junior school, the communication that we get from the nurse, all of the details of the school are so well communicated and so well articulated and executed. Great. Sorry, that's what I'm looking for. So well executed.
Awesome, thank you. One last sort of alum reflective question for you, Devin, would be, what advice would you give to students just entering the school, or even maybe advice when they're considering the school, maybe something that you didn't think about when you were considering Branksome, either for yourself or even your daughter?
For me, I made the decision very young, and my parents certainly had some input on it. But for for me, I think when considering the school, if you do end up choosing Branksome and you do end up joining the Branksome community, I would say to just jump in with 2 feet and to not, wonder, oh, should I join that arts club or should I join that environmental club? I would say to really get involved and to join as many of the things that you can handle in your own bandwidth of you being a student, because the opportunities to meet other girls in different grade levels are phenomenal. To the opportunity to participate in clans. They have a clan system that you join where you're mixed with other girls in other grades. I still have great friendships with girls that were many years ahead of me. I have friendships with girls that were behind me. And so I think that it's really just such a unique opportunity to try so many things that you wouldn't have those opportunities at other schools. So I would just say to jump in with both feet.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Well, I will let you rest on your feet now for a moment. And I do have some questions that I will now pose. Devin is a current parent, and so she also will have some perspectives to share, but Chili and Nina will help guide us as well through this next section of questions. So Chili, I will start with you, and we'll ask you about why did you choose Branksome originally? And in which ways is the school what you expected? And also perhaps what you didn't expect? And so I'll hand it over to Chili, who will introduce herself and her connection to Branksome. And then when she's done, Nina, I'll ask for you to do the same. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Chili. My daughter is in grade 1, so we've been at Branksome for about 3 years. This is our 3rd year. The reason I applied at Branksome for Ashta, I brought her 2 times to open houses, and it's the only school she liked. She felt like she belonged from day 1. We were received warmly by all of the staff. And I applied because the school appealed to me as a parent because it was pretty close to our house. And every time I went by Branksome, I take these walks, and it was just so serene, the grounds of Branksome Hall. I love the facilities, and during our time, the AWC, which is the athletic center, was pretty new. So I was really excited about that she was going to have that on the ground. So from a mother's perspective, I just love the health and well-being approach of Branksome Hall. And we haven't been let down a single day. It is the focus of the school. She's super happy. And every day we're there, we feel like it's such a blessing to be there.
Oh, you're muted.
There we go.
Thanks, Nina.
And hello, everyone. So I'm Nina Piatek. I've got 2 girls at the school. One is in grade 9, the other one's in grade 11. We actually joined the school when my middle one was starting grade 7 and my eldest was starting grade 9. I loved the school based on all the touring we had done and the schools we had looked at, but ultimately the decision for what school the girls wanted to go to, I left it in their hands, and I was really happy when they chose Branksome. My reasons for choosing the school were simply, it was a beautiful school, beautiful campus, but what drove it home for me was that first moment when you walk on campus. Similar to what Devon said before, you feel the hug, you feel welcome. It just felt like the right nurturing environment for us. But like I said, the ultimate decision was with the girls, and both girls would say that their reasons for choosing Branksome were really, they looked at what all the schools had to offer, and what they found at Branksome was the warm environment, the academic program they were looking for, the arts program they were looking for, and in addition to that, just the athletics piece of it. So for them, it all came together really well. In terms of how the school was what I expected it to be, I was expecting a warm school. I was expecting the school to work collaboratively with me if there were any issues with the kids. I expected the teachers to be engaged. And I will say, hands down, all of those pieces were met. The The one piece I think I wasn't expecting, and it really left me pleasantly surprised, was particularly around my daughter who started in grade 9. There was only 15 or 18 girls starting, so my concerns were around how is the friendships going to work. And she has found such an amazing group of friends. And I would say that the ladies that she is friends with are really genuine, beautiful young ladies who are really determined to change different parts of the world. So it was nice. It was really nice to see that she has such a good cohort of girls who are driven, who they're happy, which is not what you see every day.
That's something, Nina, we do hear often in the admissions office after a family has visited and they've been on tour. Unfortunately, this year, we won't be hosting families on campus for tours, but we will have many ways for you to connect over the next little while. But often when families do come back to the interview portion, they say, your girls seem happy. There were smiles everywhere. And it just makes me feel like we're doing something right if the sense that our guests are feeling reflects what I believe and what I do share with families. So I appreciate your comments on that aspect, Nina. Devin, was there anything that you would like to add to that?
I don't think so, Ashley. I think, in fairness, my daughter didn't have much of a choice. But the good news is that it was really the only place she wanted to go. We did offer her other opportunities, but it really wasn't. It didn't even come down to a choice for her. It really was Branksome was the only place that she wanted to go. And I would say that the uniforms changed a little bit since I had been there. But really, all in all, I think the school really met my expectations, but it also really exceeded my expectations. So I think that would be the one thing that was different from what I expected, it is in how far the school did exceed my expectations.
Great, excellent, thank you for that. Nina, I'll have you start with this question. And of course you have 2 children at the school, but what would you say is the biggest impact that the school has had on your daughter or daughters?
I would say the biggest impact the school has had is in terms of their confidence in themselves, their leadership, and their desire to present and make change happen. An example is my daughter that started in grade 7 and is now in grade 9. Branksome has a wonderful noodle program, and both girls were really excited to apply into it. Hannah got into the pre-noodle program and she is enjoying it. She's driven. She wants to make change happen. Although noodle is a little bit on hold this year just with what's happening with the pandemic, she's still looking for other ways that she can work through her noodle project, and she's definitely being supported with the teachers along the way. So I would say those are probably the 3 big things that I've seen in my girls, where they want to make change, they want to lead, they're very comfortable presenting, working collaboratively with others, all life skills that you see in a corporate world, any type of environment. So all good things.
Great, excellent. And if I might jump in just for a moment, you did refer to noodle, and that's a concept that not many may be aware of that Branksome has introduced. And it is a business accelerator program where we are offering our students the opportunity to develop their innovative mindset, their creativity, to learn about starting their own business. And these students were able to propose a concept, then develop a pitch for this concept. There was a short list of a number of student groups selected, and things are moving at a different pace than we had originally planned because of the pandemic, but the students will still have the opportunity, almost like a Dragon's Den concept, where they will pitch their idea and their business plan to a panel of experts. And then there will be a selected group or student, although I think it's all groups this time, to be awarded seed funding for them to actually move forward with this project. And I don't think there's a program like this in any other high school that allows their students to have such hands-on real life experience where they will be mentored along the way And as Nina said, all of these skills that they're developing are only going to serve them well as they move on into the next chapters. So that's what Noodle is. It is a middle and senior school program, but very exciting for junior school families to know that it is in the future of their daughters if they are here at Branksome. So I just wanted a little sidebar on that concept. Chili, would love to hear from you with respect to the impact on Ashta.
So Asha is quite a communicator. She's always correcting me on using proper iMessage formula when I'm responding to her. She wants me to name my feelings. So I thank Branksome every day for that, because I'm becoming a much better communicator. Also, she's an introvert. So I found that over the years, she's found her confidence, she's found her voice, and that's all Branksome. That's not me.
Thank you. Devin, anything Tenley you would say has accumulated through her time?
I would say also to echo what Chili and Nina said, just really a sense of confidence. Tenley missed a lot of last year. She had a concussion, and it really didn't get her down at all. She was really only at school for half days, but she still had such a great sense of confidence because of the support from her classmates, the support from her teachers. The Learning Strategy Center supported her as well, so that in order for her to not get behind on her work, they were supporting her. The school nurse was supporting her with her headaches. The school social worker was supporting her with her feelings of if she was not, if she was missing class, if she was upset about that, or, and you know, to say what you were saying, Chili, but just to helping her identify how she was feeling or if she was having any frustrations around that. So I think for her, the sense of confidence that she came out of a really rough year with, pandemic aside, and the support that she received was really amazing for her.
Great, thank you. All great perspectives that you're sharing. Thank you so much. Chili, we're kind of putting words maybe in your daughter's mouths here, but what do you think, or what are some words that your child has used when she describes school? What would she say about the school?
Community, community, community. It's all about our community. She carries the Branksome flag. She feels she can't be sick because she needs to be with her community. They need her. So many people are expecting her to be at school. So I have to say her sense of community is very inspiring for me. She picked her school since she was 2 years old, and she's always stood by Branksome, and they've never let her down. So she's been a part of that community even before she got her acceptance letter.
Well, we're glad that she's part of the community now. Nina, what about your daughters?
So I would say both girls would probably say that the school is very forward thinking, trying to get ahead of the curve, the way the teachers make them think about life, approaching problem school things just across the board. And in terms of a personal example, Serena's very, very first day in grade 9, she came home that day and she gave me a big hug and she said, "Mommy, why didn't you send me here sooner?" And I laughed at that because we had actually toured the school when she was in grade 6 to say, "Do you want to make a move for grade 7?" And at that time she said, "No, I want to graduate with my friends." So she was very, very determined to stay at her school until grade 8, to graduate with her friends, only to come start grade 9 and only turn to me and say, "Why didn't you send me here sooner?" So to me, that speaks volumes on a very first day of school to say, I wanted to be here sooner. Hindsight's 20/20, lesson learned.
Yeah, live and learn, I suppose, sometimes. But
Yes.
Devin, is there anything you think Tenley would say then, other than what you've already communicated?
I think for her, she loves the all-girl environment. She has 3 brothers, and she loves being with other girls. She loves being with other strong women. She loves being motivated and mentored by strong women. She loves the challenges that she receives in class. So I think that's had a great impact on her, just being in an all-female environment and also just receiving great challenges through her education.
Thank you. You know, when people do ask us about the benefits of an all-girls education, most of what has been described today with respect to what these families have received from their Branksome experience are what we do say are the benefits of single gender education: the confidence building, the ability to be leaders and be strong community members. They're all aspects of the all girls school. And so thank you, all three of you, for sort of continuing with that vein of describing the Branksome experience. Another question then, we'll start with Nina, would be, how would you describe the values of the school and the values of the families in our school community?
So with regards to the values, really the one that I would say probably my girls most, and us as a family most relate to, is probably making a difference and being inclusive and having a sense of community. All of those really align with our family values, which is probably why the school feels like home. You know, when we talk to our kids, we talk about making a difference. If there's anything they're ever unhappy about, it's like, well, what can you do differently? Or, you know, be the change you want to see in the world, which very much aligns with, you know, at Branksome, how can you make a difference? How can you have a more inclusive, environment? And then a sense of community is something we always, you know, speak about at home. And, you know, how can we make everyone feel welcome? Thinking about others, what would they say? What would they feel? And I think my personal view is also, when you do look at a school, one of the things we looked at is what aligns with our values and what we're teaching our kids and who we want our kids to be. And Branksome definitely checked all the boxes there.
Great, thank you. Devin, any comments on this one?
I had a lot of the same words written down as Nina, but I exactly wrote that down about shaping a better world, Nina. So that's really funny that we both had that. But I would say that our family values are also very collaborative. And I think that Branksome has a really collaborative sense of community, a collaborative sense of education. So I think collaboration is a huge value between the school that would also echo in our family. I think also with values of, again, I'm kind of repeating you a little bit, Nina, but just being engaged and being supportive of the community, trying to ensure that the community is a better place, trying to include people that may not feel included. So a lot of those things of collaboration and engagement. The other thing I would say from a value perspective is being well-rounded. And I think that we try and encourage our kids to be really well-rounded and to not just focus on one sport and to not just focus on one activity. And I think Branksome does a really good job of having an athletic pillar to the community and encouraging the girls on Fit Fridays to wear different attire and to have a sense of fitness on Fridays. Branksome also has a huge creative element to it, and also the service element of Branksome. So I think those three things are things that we encourage with our children, but that's also really echoed in the Branksome community.
Thank you. Chili.
I happen to be class parent this year for grade 1, and I'm so surprised at how much work I'm being given, making sure everyone's included. I'm very proud to do it, but I didn't realize the lengths that the school goes through in order to make sure everyone feels included and that we're part of the community. So I had the liberty of welcoming new parents and getting them involved. And as tired as I was, I loved it. I loved every minute of it to give back because we were so well received. And every day we were encouraged to participate, to be a part of the Branksome community. And I was really worried about that at the beginning of applying at Branksome. Will we fit in? What would it be like? And from day one to today, it's always been very inclusive.
Thank you very much. And as I mentioned earlier, we do have officially 4 values at the school, and they've all been touched on by the description that, our panelists today have shared. So making a difference, sense of community, inclusiveness, and creativity. And so these 4 pillars are very important in all of our thinking and planning of programming and community connection here at the school. And it was just really nice to hear all of those 4 communicated by the experiences so far of our families. I think we just have one last question that, no, I am done with the questions. I'm done with the formal part of moderating this this panel for everyone this evening. But we would very much like to open up now to any questions that you would like to pose to either Nina, Chili, or to Devin. So Devin is our alum, and then all 3 are our current parents. And if you would like to, in the chat, please post the question. I will then ask it so that everyone can hear. Or please, if you'd like to unmute yourself, I believe you have that ability, and we would invite you to ask your question live at this if you would like to.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi, thank you, yes.
Hi, my name is Andreas. I'm calling in from Kiev, Ukraine. Our daughter is now in grade 8, and I'd like to ask a question to you. She's at an IB school here. She's been an IB for her entire school career here. And I wanted to ask you a question with a follow-up question to Nina with regard to applying to Branksome. So for acceptance decisions, how important is it to apply during the traditional intake years? And is it difficult for one to be accepted when, if it's not an intake year? So that's a question, Ashley, for you. And then I'd like to follow up with Nina after that.
Sure. So most years at Branksome, with the exception of grade 5, 6, and 8, are opportunities for entry at the school. We have, sorry, I'm just hearing some, there we go. We have, depending on attrition of families, we may find ourselves with an opening in non-entry years. And I will say that of the most recent few years, we've had a lot of interest in every grade. So there is a process, an admissions process for every grade. If you're looking for grade 9, that is our second biggest entry year, of which we will have up to 25 students that would be accepted. Does that answer your question? I'm sorry if I misunderstood.
Yeah, that's great. I appreciate that. And I'd also like to ask Nina a question. Nina, you mentioned that your girls came in for grade 7 and grade 9. Is that right? 7 and 9?
Yes. Yep.
Can you speak about their transition to the school in those particular grades, and how was it for them, and what was the adjustment like?
So both my girls transitioned beautifully. I think a big part of it is just they, you know, when they started the school year, they were keen to join clubs, the clubs offered by the school, which provided them with opportunities to meet other girls. I think the school did a good job as well by matching them up with a buddy. My daughter, that's in grade 9, that started in grade 9, her very first year, she actually did meet and become friends with 2 girls who are in res. One's from Germany, the other one is from Alberta. So I think the school works with you in order to make sure that you do transition really well. They also provide opportunities for the transition to make friends. And I think part of it is also up to your own child as well, and putting themselves out there, you know, joining many clubs or teams just to meet other people. In particular to residents, I do know, based on my daughter that's now in grade 11, her 2 friends that are in res, they will say that the residence coordinator there, they work with the girls, they do weekend outings together. So there are opportunities for them to mingle with the girls within res. And then the other thing that was encouraged pre-COVID times was that when you're in res, if you did make friends outside of res, they would also ask parents, for example, at Thanksgiving, you know, if you were going away, would you consider asking one of the girls in res, that maybe a friend of your daughter's, to join? So it's a collaborative effort between the school, yourselves, and your child to come together. The residence coordinator is definitely there to support the friendship and the transitioning. And then from an education, like in terms of support they need, I would say 100% the learning strategies team, if there is a concern, when you email, they are on it, they contact you, they work with your child, however, whatever, with whatever supports they may need. Guidance is very strong as well, I would say, at the school, in terms of helping the girls adjust and settle as well.
Yeah, Nina, that's really helpful to hear. Very, very thorough response. And it's also nice to know, I think the more kids are engaged, the better off their experiences are going to be as it is. Thankfully, our daughter is very, very engaged here, and we would expect that to continue there. So that's certainly nice. But it's also nice to hear that there's quite a supportive effort behind to help acclimate the girls once they're there. Ashley, can I follow up just by asking one quick question to you? How many spots are typically available for grade 10? I mean, I know it depends on attrition, so year to year, but if maybe you can suggest a range that exists?
Certainly. I would say anywhere from 5 to 10. I don't know, that's kind of a big range, but again, it just depends on the transition from grade 9 into 10. But we always have openings. And this year for grade 10, I think we might even have 11 new students in grade 10 with us this year.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Just following up on Andreas's question regarding that transition for all grades, as Chili said, she's the grade rep. And so in the junior school, we do have parents who are grade reps and who will help with that transition from a parent perspective, because you're also new to the community. On the middle and senior school, it's the same approach, where we want to ensure that both student and parent feel that they have somebody that they can turn to and ask questions outside of the admissions person, outside of me, who you get to know throughout the process, but somebody who has lived with their daughter through their first year at Branksome, who understands what kinds of mountains and valleys may be ahead. So we do our best to partner students with current students and parents with current parents to give a different perspective. I see that we have Lucky who has their hand up. So if you would like to unmute yourself and ask your question, please do so.
Hi, Ashley. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, thank you very much. We can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I just have one question regarding the changes that have been made to adapt the pandemic. I just would like to know what the school has been doing to help the girls adapt to the new normal, and does the school has any plan for the coming year if things under maybe develop to another level? Yeah, just like to know about the measures taken.
Sure. Well, Lucky, may I just ask which grade you are interested in for your daughter, and I can begin the description with a proper reflection of that.
Yeah, my daughter is currently in grade 2.
Okay.
And I expect to get her into Branksome maybe in grade 3.
Okay. Well, I might ask if Chili or Devin, as a parent, would be able to respond to how they felt the school pivoted. That's the word of 2020, I think, right? How the school pivoted and how our families felt about how we've handled everything since March. So if Chili or Devin would like to speak to that as junior school parents first.
You want to go first, Chili, or rock, paper, scissors?
You're it.
Oh, okay, great. I would say just from speaking with other parents at other schools and how they were finding the communication, I really think that Branksome knocked it out of the park. The communications office at Branksome was really on top of things. We were receiving frequent emails updating the parents as to what changes the school was making. We received videos from the principal. We participated in Zoom calls. So the junior school had a Zoom call, and then your grade had a Zoom call. I think also the changes that the school made with the filtration systems. I mean, Ashley, you would probably know about the facilities a little bit better than Chili and I, but I mean, the school made massive changes to the facilities in order to incorporate better ventilation, better filtration. The classrooms were all orchestrated with an architect to measure out with lasers how far away the desks were from each other. Pathways were made on through the hallways such that, you know, my daughter said in some places you have to go the long way to get to the bathroom in order that everything is a one-way flow of traffic so that you're not risking passing people in the halls. That would be my experience with all the changes that were made. I just thought the communication was amazing, and the physical changes that the school implemented comforting and really gave a huge sense of confidence in being able to send my daughter back to an in-person school.
Great. I would just echo that, again, the attention that the school placed on the health and safety of our students and staff and faculty from junior kindergarten right through to grade 12 was the priority and was what all of our plans, the basis for all of our plans. And so when the province said that grade 7 and 8 students should go back to school or could go back to school every day, we still kept our original plan that our middle school students, grade 7 and 8, were on campus one day and virtually learning another day. So we maintained our conviction that the health and safety of our community was the most important thing. You know, when we did go virtual back in March, we made some decisions with how we would deliver the programming from the junior school through to the senior school. And then when we came back in September, we had different adjustments made that for the virtual learning of grade 7 to 12 that we feel is offering families and students greater connection to the school. The junior school students are all safely on campus, physically distancing, masked every day. And I think that the reaction from our families, from an administrative perspective, I know, has been extremely supportive. And I'm proud of the work that the school has done in the midst of what's happening around us. So Lucky, I hope that that gives you a good sense of what's happening.
Yes, thank you.
We have a hand up here from Emmett. If you would like to unmute yourself, please do.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Great comments, and it was really wonderful to know so much details about the school. I have two questions. One for you, Ashley, regarding the admission process. So I saw there is an educational assessment question, but of course I understand that the school doesn't conduct its own educational assessment. But if my daughter is undertaking SSAT, do you suggest we should include her scores?
So for what grade are you looking?
Grade 7.
So for the educational assessment is actually if there's an assessment done by a psychologist perhaps that identifies any learning needs. So the if your daughter is writing the SSAT, we always value more information. So please feel free to submit it.
Okay, thank you. That was brief. And the second question, which I am really very, very impressed about, is the Tandaria Research Institute. And very impressed with Dr. Meera Gambhiri taking over the responsibility recently. So would like to know a bit more about it and its functioning.
Sure, thank you for asking that. It's not something I get asked a lot about because many people aren't even aware that we do have this phenomenal research center at the school, the Shondaria Research Center. So our aim is to partner with our community to better understand how we can support girls' education and their development. And so by doing some research within our own community, looking at different recess models in the junior school, or looking at our homework in the middle and senior schools, to make sure that we are delivering that experience that meets the needs of our students. We are then able to use this research and our findings, and perhaps we will be able to partner with other schools and publish these findings so that we can be seen as a leader, as the leader in girls' education and development. And so there are different ways that the Research Center partners with students through surveys and through different activities. We will also engage with parents and our alum communities to ensure that we are receiving the best information that we can to continue developing these programs to support our school. So thank you for asking about that. Dr. Gambier is a phenomenal addition to our community. She is leading our diversity, equity, and inclusion work as well that we are launching into for this year and the years ahead. And I know she will take us in a great direction.
Great. Yeah, I'm really impressed with the diversity at the school. I do not need to ask that question. I can clearly see it around. So that's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much for your question. Patricia, would you like to unmute yourself? And I will just make note here, we have about 5 minutes left in our time together today. So thank you so much, everyone, for bringing us through to this point. Patricia.
Hi, Ashley. I hope you can hear me okay. Thank you so much
yes.
To everybody that's provided a very thought-provoking responses to the questions. I really appreciate it. In light of COVID and the activities that your school has done to make sure that the children continue with their education as best as can be, can you elaborate a little bit more on your online curriculum? Is it and how is it different, do you think, from other schools?
So for our grade 7 to 12 cohorts, they are the students receiving the virtual learning. I might just ask Nina first if she has anything she wants to, just in terms of what your daughters have been saying about their virtual learning so far, and then I can comment as well.
So the virtual learning is going well, and it has gone well from when we pivoted to the virtual learning back in April. The girls do one day in classes, and just the way the grades have worked out, they're actually on alternating days. So I do have one daughter home with me every day, which is really lovely. But they would say that in terms of the online learning, it's working well for them. In terms of the virtual learning, when they're in school, when they're in their in-class sessions, there are some students who are virtual learning, and so they just plug into the Zoom or Google Meet, whatever the teacher happens to be using, and they're there part of the class as you would be in a normal situation. So it's kind of like the student is there, they're just learning virtually. So the curriculum, whether you're virtual or in school, is the same. You do have the option to learn virtually if that's what works for you. And then in terms of going back and forth between the in-school day and the virtual day, the girls have settled in fine with it. They, depending on the classes, some teachers have pre-recorded the classes so that the girls can watch it in advance, and then they proceed to teach it, so it just reinforces what they're learning. But there really isn't too much of a difference in the sense like the expectations for presentations are the same. You're just presenting via Zoom. Assignments, essays, the teachers are there, they're teaching online in a virtual environment. They're there plugged in for the full class. They answer questions and support any classwork that students have to do during class. So I think it doesn't matter which option you choose, whether you go with the current in class one day, at home the other day, or if you decide to join Branksome and you go pure virtual learning, the curriculum isn't going to be any different. You're doing the same tests, you're doing the same assessments, and you're getting the same instruction.
Mm-hmm. And I think that teachers have been obviously adjusting as they've moved along. Everybody is learning. We're all learning new skills at this time. Who would have thought, you know, we'd be hosting so many Zoom calls? I didn't even know what Zoom was until March, and now it's my best friend. But the teachers, I believe, use the in-person time for most of the delivery of information, so that for that at-home online piece, students may be going into smaller breakout rooms so that they can do their collaboration and some teamwork in the breakout rooms. Or if they're working on an individual assessment or assignment, then they have that time to do it. So the teachers will always be checking in and checking out with students, but they may not be delivering so that the content for that entire 70-minute period. I mean, Zoom fatigue is certainly something that can set in, and so we're very conscious of that. But yet we do want to ensure that the level of delivery of our programs is not diminished by what's happening right now. I think the other quick piece I would just add to that, and I know I'm rambling a little bit here, but it's more than just the classroom and more than just the curriculum that Branksome is focusing on delivering for our students. So today, for example, we mentioned clubs. A few people have mentioned how we have so many clubs, and we really encourage students to get involved and to meet new people and explore new passions. And I didn't know how many clubs we would still offer virtually. Well, we had a virtual clubs fair today with 52 clubs being offered virtually for grade 7 to 12. And so I think what the school is really doing well is ensuring that we're not missing any of the core components of the experience that we want our students to have, whether it be clubs, whether it be athletics. We're still doing our best to offer a safe and healthy athletic program, and leadership. Leadership nominations are open in different aspects of the school. Students will be putting forth their name to be considered for leadership positions. So all of this continues in the midst of this pandemic, and we're not losing who we are as we go through all of this. So I hope that that helps a little bit, Patricia.
It did. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. So we have Sarah, and then Andreas will be the last question. So Sarah, if you'd like to unmute yourself, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, for the parents, I'm wondering if either from your perspective or from your daughter's perspective, if there's a subject or program that you think Branksome really excels at, or that you have just been most impressed with, and especially if there's anything regarding visual arts. My daughter is very much into anything with that, and I've looked online, and I'm just curious if anyone has any information to share about that.
Sarah, for perspective, may we just ask what grade you're interested in, and it'll just help us frame the response.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, sorry, I was just wondering what grade your daughter was entering. It might just help us ensure we answer your question well.
Sure, she will be entering 7th grade.
Excellent, thank you.
I can answer that. From an arts perspective, I would say that Branksome probably offers more arts than what I was expecting. There's a wide variety. Visual arts was probably, my daughter that's in grade 9 now, it was probably one of her favorite subjects going into grade 7. What I loved was she also had the opportunity in grade 7 and 8, you do your visual arts, you also have the option, you also do drama, but in addition to that, you also have another art option in terms of music, whether you do an instrument, band, or voice. She opted to do the violin, never having played it, strings. So she had 2 great years of violin. She loved the arts program, like the actual visual arts, because they did sculptures, they did actual paintings, and they also did a unit on sewing. And they went fairly in depth with these items. And then the other thing I would say is my daughter, who started in grade 9 and was given an arts option, she actually opted to do dance. And in grade 9, you have to commit to 2 years for your art. And she said, I picked dance just to be out of my skin and take on a new challenge. So there's definitely different options. And it is a really, I would say it's a very good, like really, the arts program goes above and beyond what I was expecting, because when, like for drama, when you got to go in to see whatever play they were working on, you're always blown away. And similarly, the art projects that were coming home, they were very intricate, and a lot of work went into it, you could see, for sure.
And we do offer in the diploma, which is grades 11 and 12, we do offer visual arts as a diploma program offering, as well as film, dance, and music, and drama. And with the visual arts, there's a beautiful exhibition at the end of every year that used to be just focused on the grade 11 and 12 artwork. But we've come to realize that there's such great creativity all the way through the school. In the junior school, they always have artwork on display. They have a pottery kiln in the junior school. So from the junior school all the way through to grade 12, for visual artists, there are many opportunities through clubs as well to connect and find ways to sort of showcase their creativity through photography or short story writing, different ways that we have these creative outlets for students.
Okay, thank you very much.
So Andreas, we'll give you the last question of the day.
Okay, Ashley, I had a question then for you regarding the SSAT. We've looked at their website in terms of trying to schedule a test, but neither through the Prometric testing centers or through the international paper tests, is there anything near Ukraine that would be available for her to take the test? What do you do in those situations?
So I would ask that you give me, you email me, and we'll talk about what other options we might have available.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah, absolutely, I can help you. I do recognize that this year with the SSAT at home and everything, that it's a more challenging opportunity for some. So by all means, I would invite you to search out my email on the website, or I can actually put it in the chat quickly. And for anybody on this call who has any specific admissions questions, I would be very happy to communicate with you and make sure that you have the information you need as you move forward in your journey on exploring Branksome Hall. So for today, a huge thank you to Nina and Devin and Chili. I'm very grateful that you took time out of your busy families and your busy schedules to share your perspectives with all of our guests today. And thank you everyone through the Our Kids organization for finding this opportunity and connecting. And please be sure to check our website. We do have other opportunities for you to learn more about Branksome, and we're always available for any questions throughout the process. So thanks again, everyone. It was such a pleasure. I always love having different perspectives about the school. And Silverbergs, thank you so much for everybody being there and smiling at us. Thank you.